Good evening and welcome to the John Cady podcast. I'm John Cady, retired U.S. Navy veteran, former minister, and a man who's experienced a lot in life. This evening's episode talks about a subject that is very close to my heart, and it's an experience that I went through for the past year. It is often said that when a person becomes a parent, that there is no set of instructions with that child. As the father of two children, I have a son who is grown. I have a daughter who is about to turn 16 and will be getting her driver's license at some point. I know that for a fact that children don't come with instructions whatsoever. It's like we're learning on the fly. But as much as we talk about that with raising children, there's another topic that also doesn't come with instructions, and many of us who have dealt with a loved one who has been diagnosed with some severe health issues and is in decline can relate to this. Being a caregiver, or being suddenly thrust into that role as a caregiver, that doesn't come with any instructions either. When you learn that that loved one, whether it's a parent, a child, a significant other, has been diagnosed with a life-threatening condition, and now we're faced with, how do we care for this loved one? How do we address their needs? How do we balance all the aspects of our day-to-day life, balancing taking care of this loved one, work, other family and social activities that we find ourselves involved in. When my girlfriend Cassandra was diagnosed with congestive heart failure in the late part of 2023, and we both realized at that point that her health was starting to take a rapid turn downhill. We were in a relationship for a number of years, and it was a very loving, very satisfying relationship. We enjoyed each other's company very well. I have many fond memories of our time together. But there was no way either of us were ready to deal with the hand that was dealt. A lot of trial and error. For me, I think the most frustrating part of being, Cassandra's caregiver was trying to make sure that she had the proper accessibility tools at her disposal, especially when it came to picking out chairs. Chairs were difficult. I would find a chair and I'd put it together and think that it would meet her needs, only to find out that she was having trouble getting in and out of it. Also, modifying our routine to make sure that she was able to safely navigate up and down stairs. Something that a lot of people, take for granted. But in her case, stairs were terrifying. There was one instance where we had just returned from grocery shopping and she lost her balance and fell down the stairs and ended up spending a week in Tulsa at the hospital because she had suffered a real bad concussion. Thank God it wasn't a fractured skull. But, it was stressful. There's no denying it. It didn't change my love for her. I did what I did because I loved Cassandra very much, and we still tried to make the best out of each opportunity that we had, including, going to my son's graduation from high school in 2024, trying to participate with the rest of the family at 4th of July events. But at the same time, we had to balance the doctor appointments. We had to balance the hospital visits, along with, me going to work, and making sure that Both of my kids were still being given the proper level of attention that they needed. It wasn't easy. And when being in that caregiver role, I'm thankful that there was an agency like Alara, which provided some in-home help as far as light housework and making sure that she was taken care of and she was okay, which made it a little easier for me when I was away at work or when I was away visiting my daughter. But at the end of the day, it came back to that Cassandra and I were still trying to sort all this out. We didn't know what was going on. And to be honest, I don't think either of us were really knew just how bad her health had been declining. And when she had that last fall in December of 2024, and she had to spend some time down in Owasso, and I'm very grateful for the people there. They helped her, regain, enough mobility to, live at home, and we even looked at modifying the routine to where we were going to get a downstairs apartment. Now, why a downstairs apartment? Because that meant that she was going to be able to get in and out without having the fear of going up and down the stairs and risk falling. Something that just terrified her no end. And we found a place, and it was right next door to the maintenance office. That would have been perfect, because she could have easily gotten in and out, walk around the courtyard, get some more strength in her legs and everything. And if there was something that she needed, maintenance was right next door, and they could check on her. But the final thing about being a caregiver in that journey is that nothing prepares the caregiver for what I would say is the inevitable. And the inevitable is that moment when God says it's time. And, just before we were getting ready to make that move downstairs, unfortunately, Cassandra passed away. But there were a lot of lessons learned. And the biggest one that I can take away from all this is that being a caregiver, as I said in the beginning, does not come with instructions. You learn as you go. There are people that you can talk to, along the way. But at the end of the day, it is just as much of a challenge as raising children. There's no instructions, no clear-cut way of doing things. And there's a lot of it that's just simply trial and error. Do I wish she was still here? Yes, I do. But there's a lot of lessons learned that I can impart and share with everybody else. And I hope everyone who listens to this can benefit from it as well, and probably relate to what I've been through in the caregiving journey. This is John Cady. Thank you for listening. And as always, you click that like and subscribe button. And feel free to contact me if you wish through email, and I'll get back with you.